Hey guys, how's it going? Today I wanted to talk to you about kind of like the beginner's guide for currency and Path of Exile. It can be a little bit daunting. As you can see, there's 23-ish plus currencies that you could pick up before you finish all the acts. And I kind of wanted to go through not exactly what each item does per se, but more of like when you should use it and if you should just keep it for endgame, if it's more of like an endgame, either currency or crafting material. And I'll kind of get into that in a minute to explain, so like the baseline currency in the game is a chaos orb, if you haven't figured that out yet. Essentially, this is like the equivalent of 1 gold piece, but we'll get into this one in a little bit. So you're playing through, you might collect fragments, and these fragments are going to come into a scroll of wisdom. It's very basic. Identify as an item that is unidentified in your inventory. You can use these as you go along. Same thing with portal to town. Just use these whenever you got to use them. Blacksmith waystones. I will take these along with armor scraps, and these will give you, the waystones will give you 4-1 on the scroll of wisdoms, and the armor scraps will give you 2-1. So I usually do that like as I'm running through the acts, identifying items, and I run out of scrolls of wisdom. I'll use these, I'll sell some of these, but you will also need these in the end game to improve the quality of armors and weapons up to 20%. The next currency we have here is Glass Blower's Bauble. Improve the quality of a flask. Do not use these on your flask as you level. I only have 12. I don't even have a full stack, and I don't think all my flasks are even at 20 quality yet. So this is more of an end game thing. I know it seems like you can use this on lower quality lower level flasks. Should I talk? But I would recommend holding on to that for the end game. To make it like a little bit more visually easier at the end here too, I will also separate the currency based off what you should hold on to and what you should probably use as you level up. The next one here is a GCP, Gem Cutter's Prism. Improves the quality of a gem. This is okay to use. They kind of changed how the, what do you call it? How to improve the quality of non-support gems works. You have to run like labs now. But these are still used in vendor recipes to flip over your support gems. So this is more of an endgame thing too that I would hold on to. Cartographer's Chisel improves the quality of a map. Maps are endgame. Hold on to these for the endgame. Orb of Transmutation upgrades normal item to magic item. These can be used whenever. You'll get a ton of them. Same thing with Orb of Alteration. Reforges magic item with new random modifiers. You'll get a ton of these as well. Orb of Augmentation. You don't get a ton of these. I mean, you get a lot of Orb of Augmentation. Blah, blah, blah. You can use these as well. It's not a big deal. Same thing with Orb of Chance. Feel free to use these whenever. I feel like you don't really have to hold on to them. Orb of Alchemies. Upgrade normal item into a rare item. If you're going to upgrade a normal item into a rare item, use an essence. Do not use Orb of Alchemy. These are more useful for maps and things as you progress into the end game. Same thing, pretty much this entire row. Regal Orb upgrades a magic item into a rare item. It's kind of a crafting thing towards the end. Chaos Orb is the standard currency. It's essentially 1 piece of gold. Forge a rare item with new random modifiers. When you do trading, buying and selling, this is like the base currency. And then the secondary currency is a Divine Orb, which is roughly 200 chaos. I think a Divine Orb is worth less this season because of the juicing of the wisps, or the wisp juicing. But Chaos Orb, hold on to these. Exalted Orb, augments a rare item with a new random modifier. This is to fill out prefixes and suffixes. This is a crafting thing. Hold on to that. Divine Orb. These are what everyone's trying to farm. These are worth about 200 chaos orbs. So hold on to these. These will help you gear out your character if you're in trade league in the end game. So don't use these unless you want, unless you're crafting or whatever. Orb of Scouring removes all modifiers from an item. This is a kind of like a crafting thing. You can do this as you level. It's not that big of a deal if you want to use them. I don't usually use it as leveling. Like typically you just go find another piece of gear and it's going to be like a little bit better. You just put that on. But yeah, Orb of Scouring. Feel free to use them. Blessed Orb randomizes the values of implicit modifiers on an item. This is more of an endgame crafting thing. So like if you have plus 25 health on a belt, you can maybe reroll it to plus 40, you know, whatever. Any implicit value, the first value in the row of stats, not on that. Give you a good example. So like plus 22 cold res, we can roll that up to 30 if I were to use a Blessed Orb. Jeweler's Orb reforges number of sockets on an item. Feel free to use these as you level. Orb of Fusing, feel free to use these as your level. You probably rifle through them, and same thing with Chromatic Orb. It is kind of useful to hold on to these when you hit the 6 socket chest piece, two-handed weapon threshold, because you can purchase a 6 link and then reforge it in the crafting bench to the colors that you want. So, I mean, there's certain crafting things that you can do with it once you hit that point. So maybe you hold on to it to that point. But in the end game, yeah, I mean, whatever. You get your gear. You don't really change your gear that frequently. And then you just buy the colors that you need. I mean, sometimes you just get the colors that you need. So these are like, I don't know. You can use them as you will. Orb of Regret grants a passive skill refund point. Use this whenever. You should have your passive tree planned out. I wouldn't just fucking wing it, because you're going to run out of these, and you can farm them, but it's, you know, it's pain in the ass. You're better off just knowing where you're going on the passive tree, to be honest. And then Val Orbs, I would hold on to these. These have varying effects to an item. A 25% chance to do 4 different things. It's kind of a crafting material, as well as you need to corrupt your red maps, which is an endgame activity, to get credit for your passive tree. So give me a second here to reorganize these so that we can see the ones that you should keep and the ones you should use, or it doesn't matter. So you go, I swapped around the currencies that I think you should keep until endgame at the bottom here. And then the ones at the top, feel free to use. But the ones that, again, going over the ones that you should keep till endgame, or at least until you get your final, you know, flask, piece of gear, etc., or whatever. It might not necessarily be the end game, but is Glass Blower's Bauble GCP, Cartographer's Chisel, Orb of Alchemy, Regal Orb, Chaos Orb, Exalted Orb, Divine Orb. Definitely hold on to these. Blessed Orb and Val Orb. There's also an item called Mirror of Kalandra. I've never seen one. I don't know if I will. They're worth a shitload of currency because they can take any item and that's not been mirrored and copy it. And that's usually reserved for like the best in-slot items available in the game get mirrored. And the mirrors are worth a lot of money. So if you get one, if you happen to get one of those, hold on to it so you can sell it. And that will totally gear out your character. But I hope this helps, and I'll try to make these more beginner-esque guides for you from an intermediate kind of point of view. And I'll catch you later. Peace and chicken grease. See ya.